Hey students, this is Mrs. Dixon again. Today I'm going to talk to you about abbreviations in cooking. Now, abbreviations in cooking can be very confusing because a lot of times recipes use different versions of abbreviations. So we're going to look at some very common abbreviations today. Okay, I'm going to start small. The first thing that's the very small thing that we like to use is a teaspoon. Now, a teaspoon is not the spoon you stir your tea with. It is a small measurement. Here is half a teaspoon, okay? And this one actually spells out the word teaspoon. But also, we might see teaspoon abbreviated like this, T-S-P, or even T. Now, the problem here is that we also have a measurement called a tablespoon. Now, a tablespoon is made of 3 teaspoons. Notice when I wrote it just now, I wrote it with a capital T. This is the difference in your abbreviations. Tablespoons always start with a capital T, whereas teaspoons start with a lowercase t. Let me show you an example. See, the teaspoon has a little t, TSP. The tablespoon has a big T, TBS. And sometimes the recipes don't even write the rest of the letters. They just write the T or the T. And you've got to know that a little t is a teaspoon and a big T is a tablespoon. One tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. So yes, the little t's are smaller. In the lesson this week, I've included a chart you can look at about Mrs. T and her 3 little kids. After teaspoons and tablespoons, you have ounces. Okay? Now you may remember these from math. They often have the abbreviation OZ. You can go look up why it's a Z instead of anything else, but that's just what it is. Ounces, no Z sound, abbreviation for ounces, Oz. Don't know why myself. I think I looked it up once a long time ago, but I can't remember why they use a Z instead. Probably something to do with Old English. Now, ounces make cups and pounds. Now, here's the difference. Cups with ounces can be liquid or they can be dry. We have liquid cups and we have dry cups. Now, liquid cups, there are 8 ounces in 1 cup. Dry cups, there are, dry ounces in cups, 16 ounces in 1 pound. But you can't really tell what the cups are dry in a pound because it depends on what you're using. Like for instance, if you're doing cups of powdered sugar, to see how many cups are in a pound, you're going to get a lot more cups in a pound than if you're doing cups of rice, which is much heavier than powdered sugar because weight is different than volume, which is what liquid's measured in. So one's in weight, one's in volume. The key here is to know that you're looking at ounces and cups. Now, a lot of times when you're measuring, and you're measuring in dry measures, you only get the cup measures. That's 1 cup or half a cup. Well, it's hard to see this one. Half a cup. There, you can see it a little bit. Or a 1/4 cup, or an 1/8 a cup, things like that, 1/3 of a cup. But when you do it in liquid measures, you get ounces mentioned with your cups. 1 cup is 8 ounces. 1½ cup is 12 ounces, etc., so on, with lines for you to measure. Now, cups can be abbreviated this way, or this way, or this way. They've got lots of different ways that they abbreviate it. Sometimes it's a big C, sometimes it's a little c. There doesn't seem to be much of a difference on those. Now, two more abbreviations of standard measurement that you might come across are the abbreviation for pint, which can be P or PT or something along those lines. Got to look out for those. And the abbreviation for quart, still liquid measures, which can be Q or QT or something else with less letters than the original. That's what abbreviations are all about. Another problem you may come across is metric abbreviations. And metric abbreviations can be milliliters or liters or grams. Those you probably want to get a metric chart and look up, because usually we don't do our recipes in those. And while my cup does have a metric side, many of my other measurement devices do not. They only come in British and American measurements. So that was my really quick, brief lesson on abbreviations for measurements in cooking. If you will follow along with the rest of the lesson, check out the infographic that I've included for you, check out the PowerPoint lesson, and then give a shot at that activity for today. You can use any internet resource to try and figure out what those measurements should be, and I look forward to seeing your work.